I have something pretty simple to look at today, and I don't think this should take too long to really look at. I've said in the last couple of videos I'm done with the resonators, but maybe that's not true because this is a kind of a resonator or resonating device. It's the Fender Fatfinger Sustain Enhancer. Fender Fatfinger Sustain Enhancer. Not crazy about the name Fatfinger, but the idea is it adds more sustain, and as the marketing material says, awe-inspiring tone to your instrument, and enhances the overall tone and note-to-note response. I'm not really sure what that specifically means, but the idea that it's going to give you a little more sustain on all your notes is kind of an attractive prospect. So with that, this thing only costs about $19, so it was a little bit irresistible. And it's pretty small and simple and straightforward. You just screw it on and clamp it on to the headstock of your guitar, bam, and there you go. So this shouldn't take too long to verify if that's the case or not. You know, scientifically how is this going to work, I'm not too sure, but when I pick up a really light guitar, sometimes I get the sense of, well, that's just too light, there's not much body there to really resonate the strings, so is that really going to have a good tone to it? Whereas if you pick up a guitar with a little bit of heft, my Fender Stratocaster has a heavy body on it, and as does my Acoustic, so that kind of gives you a sense that, oh, there's a little bit of a body there to resonate, there's a little bit of wood that's going to actually vibrate and hold the tone. So I guess by adding a little extra weight with this, maybe that's the principle, but I don't know, sometimes the weight is deceptive. I have a Paul Reed Smith that feels incredibly light, but the tone is beautiful. So there's no scientific way that I can think of to test this easily. I'm sure with excellent audio equipment you can measure exactly the duration of the note as it rings out. I don't have top class audio equipment that's going to do this, studio level equipment, but I'm going to run it through GarageBand, and I'm just going to see when I strum some basic notes or play some individual notes or play some chords with and without the sustainer, does it look visually like the arc of the dying note lasts longer with the Fatfinger in place? And also I'm just going to listen to it and see what it sounds like. I'm curious. So visually that didn't work too well because the representation of the sound wave, it shrinks down to that straight line in GarageBand so quickly that even when I can hear the guitar still resonating, it visually looks like there's no sound happening. And the sound that you can pick up on the video, it's very quiet too, so I can hear it resonating longer than you're probably going to hear in the video. GarageBand didn't really work too well to help me compare, but running the kind of rough stop clock, that helped a little bit just to see how long the notes were. So that's my acoustic guitar without the Fatfinger. So if I just strum an E minor chord, I can hear that resonating for quite a while. And unscientifically, with the stopwatch that I'm hitting just before I strum, you know, I'm not hitting it as I strum because I can't do both at once, but it's coming in at about 13 seconds. Okay. That's about 10 or 11 seconds for an individual note, and we're looking at maybe 13 seconds for the full chord. So, okay, well, let's just put this on here and let's get a sense of what that sounds like. And it's literally just screwed onto the headstock like that, just slapped right on there. Let's just see if I can by ear detect any difference. let's run some stop clocks on that. I don't know, it's not, it doesn't seem, based on what I'm seeing there, to resonate any longer. I don't know about you, but I'm not hearing anything that I would bank on as a different sound. Hold on, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. Just take it back off again for a second. Is it just me, or is there a very slight difference? Does it ring a little bit more? Maybe those out there with a little more scientific knowledge about how sound waves work can school me on this, but I'm not sure. You know, it's really hard to scientifically say, but it feels something a little bit crisper about it, and it's extremely hard to. This wouldn't hold up in a court of law, but something feels a little crisper about it. So maybe for $20, I don't know. Why don't I have a look and see what it sounds like on the electric guitar? Maybe it's more detectable there. Just gonna let this ring out. This is an E minor chord on the electric, and just to see roughly when I can, with the naked ear, stop hearing that coming from the amp. I think that went about 17 seconds, I want to say. And when I play an individual note, it doesn't go a whole lot longer than the acoustic guitar. But 10 or 11 seconds. Maybe 10 or 11 seconds. So let's go ahead and put this Fatfinger on the electric. And again, we're just clamping that right on there, right on the neck. Yeah, I'm not hearing any significant difference on first inspection. It seems a little similar to the acoustic. It's more feel than anything else. I can feel the heft of the guitar that's vibrating. I can kind of feel that it's somehow a bit weightier, and it kind of feels nice, like you can feel it in your chest a little bit. But does that significantly alter the sound? Hard to tell any difference here. marginal. I want to say that I can feel it more than hear it in the resonance of the body. It feels a little weightier, but there is a certain crispness, or it's a little louder somehow, but it's very hard to tell. It doesn't make an instant differentiation. So I don't know. The jury's out. I kind of like how it sounds with it on, but it's so subtle that it's not an immediate effect. It's subtle, and it's almost as subtle as a slight reverb or a slight echo or something, or a little touch of chorus in the background. You know, these kinds of effects that you put on just very slightly, where you probably couldn't discern it in an A/B test if you were not paying strict close attention, but as you continue to play with that little effect, you sort of can't go back to the way it was because you get used to it. I don't know, my jury's a little bit out in terms of being able to stand up here and say, yes, go and get one of these, it's amazing, it's going to change the sound of your guitar, it's going to make everything more resonant and enhance the sustain and do what it talks about on the back of the box, you know, enhance note-to-note response, whatever that means, awe-inspiring tone. Is this inspiring awe in me? No. Is it inspiring awe in you? Please comment if it is. I'd love to hear that. But personally, I do kind of like it for some reason, but it's really subtle. So I'm going to keep it on the electric, I think. I'm not sure I'm going to bother on the acoustic, but I think I'll keep it on the electric. And, you know, if I continue to play and I feel strongly that it's made a significant difference, maybe I'll come back and do another little playthrough. But for $18, $19, I guess you can't go too far wrong, although you can get guitar pedals for that these days. In the days since I've tested the Fatfinger, I've also done a little bit of online research. I've watched a few more review videos and got a sense for what other people feel about it. And honestly, I haven't found a review video yet that seems to say, this is fantastic, it totally changes my sound for the better. Most of the review videos seem pretty nonplussed, pretty uninspired by it. So that reassures me that maybe, you know, it's not just me. I thought about testing the thing on a couple of other guitars, but it is a Fender Fatfinger, so I really thought putting on a Fender Strat would be the best and ideal way to test it out. One of the interesting things I did read in the comment sections on some of the other review videos, I heard people say things like, this is good for eliminating dead notes, and certain fretboards can have just dead notes on them, I'd say the 12th fret on the G string. I don't really know too much about whether I have great dead notes on my guitar. I definitely have a couple of strings that buzz a little bit, but I didn't notice that the texture of any of the notes up and down the fretboard had altered with the use of the Fatfinger, and I gave it a pretty rigorous test out. I went up and down the fretboard a little bit. I didn't notice anything there. I also read some comments from folks that had used much more advanced sound recording technology to examine the frequencies, and they saw that the lower frequencies were boosted. So, you know, that's something, that was an interesting comment I read. However, I'm going to stand by kind of my own feeling of what it sounded like to me, but I wanted to pass on to you what I'd heard in my research, that it boosts the low frequencies, that it has an impact on dead frets or dead zones on your fretboard. But with regards to the dead zones, one of the comments said you had to move it around and experiment and try the right placement to see exactly where it would be for your specific guitar. So I don't think this is a one-size-fits-all, throw it on your headstock and away you go solution in the way that it's marketed. The thing says it will help your sustain. So the way it's marketed and the experience that I had and what I heard about it online in terms of how you might want to use it differently, it doesn't really line up. So still not that inspired by it. The link to Amazon where you can go and pick one of these up is in the description, so if you are interested in trying it out, please go ahead and click on that link. That definitely helps my channel. And if you like my gear reviews, or if you like the music that I'm posting, please go ahead and click that subscribe button and click the bell icon so that you're notified when I post new content. Thanks again for watching. Have a great one.